Funny enough, I actually was surrounded by musicals my entire life since the day I was born and didn't even realize it. But it wasn't until that fateful day in 2004 when my 11-year-old self saw the movie version of The Phantom of the Opera, I turned to my mother and said, "What the fuck is this and where do I sign up?" Hey folks, and welcome to the first episode of Musical Theater Mondays. I love musical theater so much that I thought, why not geek out about it on the YouTube with all of y'all? I do want to start off by saying that although I am a hardcore theater nerd and I read as many books as I can and watch as many documentaries as I can about the history of musical theater, girl, if I miss anything in these videos or I say anything incorrectly, I will do my best to correct that information. I'm hoping I can make more in-depth videos along the way, but patience, young grasshopper, I'm working on it. Another thing I do want to premise is that since we are living during a global pandemic, I am not in my apartment. I am currently in Vermont in my childhood home, and therefore I don't have the resources that I typically use when it comes to talking about this topic. So with that in mind, this episode is based on stuff that I found on Wikipedia. Musical theater is such a vast, dense, incredibly awesome topic. I decided to start off this whole thing by asking this one question. What is it? Now, to talk about what musical theater is, we need to first address the forms of theater that were being done beforehand. You probably already know this, but just as a refresher, theater as a whole was originated by ancient Greek theater with their insanely sick amphitheaters and their use of pageant wagons. Some shows were to promote biblical stories, others were classics like Medea. Singing was a part of these shows, but it was more so of a chorus coming in to sing about what was going on, not so much as moving the plot forward. During the European Renaissance, commedia dell'arte and opera buffa were created. People believe that these forms are the ancestors to musical theater. Soon after, court masques were created during the Tudor period, where it involved singing, music, dancing, and acting, accompanied by lavish costumes and sets. These evenings of entertainment were actually developed into sung plays, i.e. operas, which included what people believed to be the first English opera, The Siege of Rhodes, which premiered in 1656. This is kind of where theater as a whole basically imploded in creativity, and Shakespeare and Moliere were also a thing during the time too. But moving on. Now, mind you, I'm only touching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the evolution of theater, so if you want to check that out or learn more about that, go do you, do your thing. I'm just gonna keep going. The next creation is the operetta, which was made at around 1850 in France. We believe that the groundwork was created by Hervé and was refined by Jacques Offenbach into the form that we know now. Operetta means light opera, obviously. It's called that due to the length of the show, the smaller size of cast and musicians being used, and more importantly, the additional use of dialogue and dance. The plots in these shows were more on the comedic side, as well as kind of giving a wink to whatever political commentary was going on during the time. Now, also during this time, and it was actually more evolved within the coming decades, in London and America, vaudeville and musical burlesque, not the naughty kind, were the main source of entertainment to people those days. This basically was a night that included variety acts, comedy sketches, music, dance numbers. These basically were created to just have a fun night out. So for example, if there's a favorite singer or a favorite entertainer that you like, you go and check them out, but also during that night of say 3 hours of entertainment, you can spend the majority of your time hanging out at the bar at the back of the hall. You know, does that make sense? With this entertainment, there was no throughout plot, no theme, just a night of fun. This all soon came to the day of what historians declared to be the premiere of the first book musical. This premiered in the United States, which is why most people, myself included, say that musical theater is an American creation. The reason why this is declared as the first musical is because, is baby girl? Oh. Did you want to say hi? Hi, boo. The reason why this is declared as the first musical is because this is the first time that we see where dialogue, music, and dance are all used to move the plot forward. Now, if you want to know what that musical is, you're gonna have to wait until next week to find out. If you think you know what it is, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think is the first musical, although don't be an asshole and Google it beforehand and then commenting. Like, that's just ruining the fun. Don't be a fun ruiner. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed talking about musical theater, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to me talk about it for these last few minutes. I already have a few videos lined up for the next few weeks, but if you have anything you'd like me to talk about, please let me know. Musical theater is such a big topic that we can talk about anything from a person to a venue to a theme to even musicals themselves. Like, that's what we're gonna be talking about next week. It's a fun subject, it's a fun form of art, so let's just geek out about it on these Musical Theater Mondays. Thank you again so much for stopping by. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe and at ease and free from harm, and I hope to see you next Monday.